Welcome back to Numbers Known, a show where I always feel weird talking directly to a camera. But we are here with a top performer. This show seeks to say two things. One is that top performers know their numbers. Two, Crispy Barnett is one of those people. We just want to know the people behind the numbers and maybe why those numbers. Crispy isn't your birth name. I know you just explained this on LinkedIn the other day, but can you tell the people the story behind Crispy Barnett?
Yeah, so I played on a soccer team where there were three guys all called Chris, and one separate dude had my last name, so you couldn't default to just calling everyone by their last names. And so it was Chris B. And when you're running around a soccer field, it quickly turns into Crispy. And then I kept it ever since and have used it sporadically, but now I have fully adopted it.
I like it. One of my favorite YouTube clips of all time involves a pig named Chris P. Bacon, which I tried not to work that in when we were at Super together, but yeah, Crispy's good. I every time I try to tag you in something, it brings up some chicken franchise or some whatever, and I got to scroll to like your goal needs to be to get to like the number one ranked Crispy on LinkedIn.
That's my first number right there. It's like get to number one in the LinkedIn. So I'm not at the bottom.
You're pretty close. I mean, before it was a lot of scrolling. Now you're within eyesight of like the very first spot. So I'll start though. First number for you is 100. Any idea why I chose that number for you that represents Crispy Barnett?
I'm not sure.
I'll tell you. Several reasons. Number one, you keep it 100 all the time, which I appreciate about you. But the real reason is you ranked the number one top-rated HubSpot consultant with a 100% job success score before you started Workflow.
That's true.
Which is amazing. People almost get negatively rated or complaints before they start projects or consulting work or during implementations. But you've done all of that at multiple places now, both as a consultant, as a founder, as somebody that's been head of revenue. Tell me how well 100% describes you.
I am not 100% successful like in my career by any means, but in my consulting days, yeah, it was just I had everyone just leave 5-star reviews is really what it was. I was just delivering great work. And so I think my dedication to excellence, especially with how I serve customers, is I keep that 100 definitely. And so it feels like a lifetime ago that I was doing that kind of stuff, but it was so valuable for the rest of my career path and helped me build a launch pad for Workflow and future businesses like afterwards. So keeping it 100, I think, is the best thing that I could have ever done in that stage, is focusing on that success score more than anything else.
How do you think through that, almost manifesting things with confidence? Yeah. And I'm going to ask them, I'm going to try my damnedest. I'm going to ensure that the customer is satisfied with the work that I'm doing. And because I'm in control of those three things, then I'm going to have a 100% satisfaction rating across the board.
It goes back to my first number that I wrote down in preparation for this, which is 10. My first number. 10 was the first hourly rate I ever had on Upwork, $10 an hour. That's where I started. Like nothing, you know what I mean? Like it's still nothing, The idea and the concept that worked for me was I needed to treat this as a snowball and deliver great work, because the review itself was more important than the $10 per hour, because that was going to create credibility, which allowed me to upscale and grow that hourly rate. The thing that I think I'm very good at when you say like gamifying or things along those lines is I know how to trade value between me and some other person very well. In the sense of, I will can you give me a review? I will do X, Y, and Z, and let's agree to a meeting point in the middle to where I get what I want and you get what you want. And that means that I'm not afraid to do stuff like free work, or I'm not afraid to go outside of my comfort zone and things along those lines. But I know how to leverage my value to extract value from others. I think that's what makes you a good salesperson as well.
So 10 is your first number, and you reference that as being how you started with $10 an hour on Upwork.
That's right.
What a mountain you have climbed, man. That is absolutely insane. So the Upwork days before Workflow, and I assume before you were able to charge more as somebody that did have enough ratings to say, okay, now I'm $20, $30, $40, $100 an hour. What does that look like specifically? What would you tell somebody that may be on Upwork charging $10 to $15 an hour?
What I would tell everyone else is be absolutely relentless and don't give up. It will suck. It will not be fun. You will feel like you're losing money and wasting your time, but what you're doing is you're investing in a greater future for yourself by embracing the suck as of now. Here's the other data point that I brought, which is 18,000. I logged 18,000 hours of Upwork billable hours during my freelancing days. 18,000 hours. And I would wager that 1,000 hours of those were sub $15 an hour because I was building my credibility and snowballing it upward. And then I ended at like $250 an hour. So like it is a grind, and you don't get there quickly. You get there through tenacious effort and indisputable excellence all along the way.
How many days is that? I'm sure you've done the math. I mean, we could probably do it right now. Like that is, for somebody that's interested in numbers, 18,000 divided by, let's see.
My guess is 3.5 years or close to it, maybe more.
750 days. That's two years.
Mm-hmm.
Straight. 2 years of free work. No, not free work. 2 years of consulting work and hours logged in order to have that review. They say it takes 10,000 hours to like master a skill. You've almost mastered HubSpot
like
implementation and consulting work twice with that amount of stuff that you've done for other people. I'll get to my second number because it ties a lot of this back together. My second number that I brought for you is also 10, which is crazy. It is not the amount of dollars per hour you charge. I did not have access to that information. But this is a twofer, kind of like the first one. 10 is the jersey number in soccer that I am aware that you love soccer. You have the jerseys hanging up in the background.
Yes.
It is also the amount of time it took you to go, and this makes a lot more sense now with the context, from untiered to diamond HubSpot partner at Workflow. Can you talk about that? I mean, we just figured out that you spent 18,000 hours. So it would make sense that you were able to go from not even in the HubSpot ecosystem to existing as Workflow and then all the way to diamond in that little amount of time.
It was wild. And I think it echoes the value of creating credibility or a launch pad or a system for yourself. So I didn't write this down as a number, but I'll give you another fun fact that I don't tell most people as part of this process. I did that by myself. Like going from untiered to diamond back in those days was like very, very different as well with how you're selling. But the thing that I was really good at was I had a huge customer base of people that I was, fixing their HubSpot instances, delivering RevOps, stuff like that. And I was cross-selling other hubs like crazy. And that's what got me to diamond. Was I wasn't going out and, hunting and killing things. I was having conversations and driving value within my existing relationships to get people onto the full suite of HubSpot. That's really what I'm known for in terms of like this HubSpot sales ecosystem with AEs and direct teams, is they know me as the person who can sell the full suite to people. And that's what I really specialized in. Was I thought about the full customer journey with these businesses, because they were usually narrowly thinking about a marketing use case or just a sales use case or one of the two. And there's always disconnect when you have different solutions and different platforms. You can't measure the data in the best way. And so the thing that I would always do is demo the full customer journey inside of HubSpot and open their eyes and show them what's really possible when they think beyond. That's where I thought of like solution selling and really leaning into that. It resulted in me hitting diamond in 10 months, which at that time was the record. I don't think it's the record anymore. I remember distinctly the day that I hit diamond. I still have the plaque on my shelf over here because that was probably the most important milestone for me. I didn't sleep that night because I saw the next realm of opportunity for what I was going to achieve. It was just like I had this adrenaline because I didn't think that I was going to be able to succeed as fast as I did.
So that's the only thing I'm good at, by the way, is obscure metaphors and references to try to get you, to talk more about this, which 10 is the number of Messi, Pele, Ronaldinho, Maradona, I believe was number 10.
Yep.
What is that? There's a French Zidane. I believe Zidane was number 10. Yeah. Which one of those number 10s do you model your game, either soccer or how you approach HubSpot after?
Zidane. Definitely.
Headbutting people in the face.
Yes. Yeah. Specifically for that reason. And like, I won't ignore that one. Like the savage, and like I have savage mentality and I think some behaviors and traits of that, but more about the level of grace and how he plays. It's flawless. His touch. He's so precise with how he does things. Whereas, Messi's obviously the best player in the world and arguably the best athlete of all time. But he's like the quick and dirty player that can escape situations no matter what the situation is. Zidane is thinking 5-6 steps ahead, and he's graceful with his touch and takes the space in a different way. It's a very different playing style. And I'm much more, I play a lot more like what a Zidane would be compared to a Messi.
Tenacity in Motion was a book that you wrote after. Was that after Workflow or while you were single-handedly one-personing an agency to Diamond? Were you also writing a book about Tenacity, or where does that timeline fit in?
So I started writing it it would have been May of 2022, I believe. I hit Diamond and then I started writing. I didn't expect it to go anywhere, but what ended up happening was I had this newfound notoriety. Like going to inbound was a different experience for me, like consecutive years. 1 year I was a nobody. The second year, everyone was swarming me at the Diamond Elite party, whatever, asking me how I did things. And it was just very strange. And so everyone kept telling me like, write a book on this, write a book on this. And I was like, I didn't really take it seriously. And so finally I started just writing down my thoughts as I was in like layovers between flights because I was traveling a lot back then. And it ended up becoming kind of a guide to building like a service business, a professional services business around tech. And so the driving force behind that was no one helped me along the way. I hated it. And I had a really bad experience where I asked someone to help and they told me to off basically. And because they viewed me as competition. I'm going back to the Tenacity thing. Like I made it my life's purpose to destroy that company and that person. And they were probably right after all. Now that I look back on it, and like hindsight's 2020, like they shouldn't have helped me because I was better off without their help.
The third number for you is number 5. This one feels pretty easy. This is actually like a threefer. So 5 to me describes a lot of the things I associate with you, specifically your top performance and your nature. Number 5 is how many minutes it took for you to win Super's 5K pitch or 10K pitch, because you did a live implementation on a phone call. It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Didn't think it was real. It was real, and you won a bunch of money. Number 5 is also the number of stops, I would say, like number of chapters, might be the number of years now that I really think about it. But since that consultant thing, which was solo at Upwork, then founded Workflow, then you went to A8, then you went to Supered, and now you're at Zipsio. And in a 4 or 5 year span, that might seem like, you hear the LinkedIn gurus now, oh, he doesn't stay at a company. That person does not have burned the ships at the bottom of everything that they sign off with. Biggest
learning lesson, and I wrote this is the very first piece in my book. My biggest learning lesson and the regret that I have is not quitting my full-time job that I had sooner to start my business. I held on to it for like 10 months, and it was a mistake. It was a huge mistake because I would have been way farther along than what I could have been. So again, further context, like I hit Diamond in 10 months as I still had a full-time job and I was consulting. So like, imagine what I could have done if I'd really like, again, burnt the ships and gone all in. I probably could have done it in half that time or maybe less potentially. Every entrepreneur that I talk to now, I tell them, if you're afraid, like that's good. Like, but you don't make decisions based upon fear. You need to like eradicate fear from your decision-making altogether. And that means burn the ships. As in there is no option but success. There is no option but to get to where you're going to go. Like burn the ships. There's no going back to land. With like the 10K pitch, like someone pissed me off that day and sent a message and was like, I'm coming for my money. I was like, fuck you. And I stayed up all night on day 3 of inbound, which anyone that goes to inbound knows you don't sleep basically the entire fucking terrible. And like, I love going to inbound because you get to see everyone. I hate going to inbound because I'm always tired and I end up leaving sick. That's always how it works. But I stayed up all night and redefined our pitch. I texted a customer at 2 a.m. who the guy had signed with us like 2 weeks prior as well. It wasn't even like he was a legacy customer I could call in a favor for. He was a net new customer. So I was like really stretching the limits of our relationship. And I was like, hey, I'm going to call you tomorrow at this time. Like, let's schedule a Zoom meeting, blah, blah, blah. And then I did his deployment live with a product at that time. Supered was fairly new. Like it wasn't really tried and tested like to the level that it is now. And so it was a massive risk and it worked and it paid off. And so it was, again, burn the ships. We will succeed. And that's the only option. There is no backup plan. We're not going to, have plan B. That's what led us to getting noticed by like Yamini. That's what led us to conversations with Dharmesh when he saw that. I mean, it was insane. My last number is 10 million.
ARR target for by the end of next year for where you're at now?
It's more about I'm 30 right now. And so I would like to achieve the net worth of $10 million by the time I am 35. It's like North Star metric for me is that's what drives me because it improves my quality of life and everyone else around me.
the elements where I've seen burn the ships work for you in this example are, I'm going to make this very intentional choice. I'm going there. There's not like, I'm not necessarily burning bridges or destroying relationships, but like, I'm not going to leave myself a way back so that there's a chance of failure. How can you do both? How can you burn the ships and like approach the next thing without fear and do multiple things at one time?
Yeah, it's kind of like there's this really interesting concept of like what's called inner voice in your head, and you have to know when it's time to beat up your inner voice. In the sense of your inner voice will cast doubt into your brain and will tell you to do or not do things. And so I found that burning the ships mentality is not so much like only focus on one single thing and just that. It's more about, I have a goal that I'm going to achieve and there is no option but success. And that goal could be made up of multiple things that I work on, which is like what I do right now is I work in multiple businesses. The thought process that I have is more of, I am going to burn the ships in the sense of there is nothing that will distract me from my goal, even if it's something that's net new and exciting. I am going to be laser focused on whatever it takes to get to that goal and spend my time just doing those things and nothing else. Any
closing statement you want to make?
My number that I hesitated to add was 100 as well, actually. And it was because I had this goal whenever I sold Workflow back in the day. It was I want to help 100 founders do something better than what I did. And I think that I'm probably pretty close to it. I don't really keep track of that number. So I think the reason I didn't add it is because I don't want to keep track of that number, if that makes sense. I don't want to cap myself on the amount of people that I can help at any given time. So closing remarks is help me increase my number, anyone that watches, because I have a lot of experience and insight that I can give to you to help make you a better entrepreneur. And it's free as well. Like there's no strings attached.
I can attest to that as somebody that's known Crispy since I believe it was your second inbound, but it was me, my wife, somehow Jay Schwedelson, and then you were kind of off at the VIP party and we started hanging out. But yeah, I asked him about 30 minutes before this call, like, hey, we have an opening time. Here's the prep. Here's the questions. Be ready. Prepare yourself. This would help me out. And then we got this absolute gem of an interview. Thanks, man. I will have this out on, by the way, we have Spotify now. So this will be out for people within the next week or so. But I appreciate it.